Good evening. This is the Elliott Wave update for the NASDAQ 100 for Thursday, March 24th, 2022. And so glad that we left open that possibility for additional new highs above what we'd already created at the beginning of this week. As the market did turn on its tail, went up, kept that line in the sand at the hourly 50, which again, it's now risen up a little bit, held that. And then once they tried to get through it and they came back up and then they just launched and they launched and they launched. And then that last hour, they truly launched. Broke above 14,700, got up to 767. And then only pulled back $4 prior to we'll get our opening here in about 7 minutes. Globex will start. Right now, looking like they're going to try to get it a little bit lower, all of $3 if I count the offer. Now, what does this suggest? It suggests that we still need to allow for one more run for the roses. And so we've now got our sights set on 14,845 of all things. But today we managed to get up over 300 points. And again, let me just check to see what the closing volumes were. Oh, they took them all away. They actually were not all that great for the size of the move that we were getting. So as they continue to buy, the sellers are basically just standing back going like, well, I'm not going to do this anymore. And so they're having to run to value further than they would have before. Now, what does this suggest in terms of our current count? It still remains in place. As I suggested yesterday, if we had that run, that what I likely would do is switch and put the sub-minute third wave up here at that high that we saw at well, actually it should be right there at 690. Yep. Hold on, let me change that around and put it where the high is, and the high is right there. And this low slightly breached a little bit today. So that would be the low of wave 4. Now, so what it does suggest is that we're still within this minute C wave to complete minor wave 2. And we're now hopefully within this final run up. And so again, we're going to be looking for 5 waves up from this level. And so 1, 2, 3, a little 4, and then a 5. And I'm hoping that that contains it. And I'm hoping that that actually puts the finishing touches on this move. Again, there's just so much going on that stands in direct opposition to continually trying to buy a market higher. Now, when I take a look at what exactly they're pushing on, again, today it was Tesla, Microsoft, Google, Facebook, Amazon till the very end of the day. Most of the Amazon was down, but Apple, they come in, and so we're back to doing where they're just pushing and they come in and choose a strike price and then push all week to get it to that strike price. Initially it was 170, then it became 172.5, then it became 175, which likely will be touched or reached by expiration tomorrow. Now, tomorrow is just a weekly expiration. So again, Tesla was $1,000. That getting it to there, and now it's turned into, I think, 1,050. We can go in and we can see where the open interest is building, and that would be kind of where they're pushing. And Google, we're now looking at 2,850. But I think there's a 2,835 maybe, or 2,840. But we're getting up there in areas that they believe that's where they want these underlying to finish. Now, whether that's still going to be a part of, if you remember that last Friday, we had the monthly March expiration, and they called it a quadruple, even though that a lot of it doesn't exist anymore, that there was $3.6 trillion to be settled at that expiration, and like 2.6 trillion of it was in the morning expiration with the S&P, and the balance was on the afternoon expiration. And so again, pushing now could be just some of that leftover from there. And so they're still attempting to close these positions that they're holding the markets at these higher levels to do. Now, that is also suggesting that we might be getting some manipulation, but maybe not. But at the same time, they're pulling in a great deal of retail money back into the market. And I believe it's on a hope of women of prayer, because I actually do not see where, even if we do come up and we break above 15,253, so we get above 254, then it only just puts this entire run in a B wave. Now, granted, we still would like to play that upside, so don't get me wrong on what I'm saying. What the end result of the conversation is that what is waiting to happen is a devastating decline. Now, right now, it still would be devastating, even if it started from 14,850. It's still going to be pretty devastating, because what I'd be looking for is for it to come down and break below that low. And so it's like all of this that we just put on will be taken off. Now, granted, this has been on now a week and a half. This started on Tuesday, the 15th. That's where that low occurred. And then so we just started to launch from there, and we haven't stopped since. In fact, I don't think we've had a down day. We've had down periods during the day, but a down day, I don't think it's happened. I have to go back and look. But in any case, it has been a powerhouse of a rally, and the bars are definitively, they're just going to go push right through all of that, just keep pushing. I tell you that right off the bat. So here we go. We got our opening, and then just opened it at 14,764, pushed it up to 67. And the high, I think it remains at 69. I think that was our high there, 69, 75, almost 70. So we haven't quite got that. But if we do, then we're off to the races. So again, it has been extremely powerful. Hands down, these bars are, without a doubt, extremely bullish bars, if we just look at a technical basis. So on a technical basis, I suggest it's like, do not fight this rally. We'll know when it's over, but at the same time, even during the day, it may feel at particular points that, oh, we're getting a shift in momentum, we're getting a shift in direction and through the selling. But all we can do basically is to trade with versus against. So instead, I will not pick a top, nor will I pick a bottom. But what I will attempt to do is point it towards where the next stronger resistance comes in, and how that then fits into the larger count that I'm working, and what I still continue to look for, or what my expectations are upon the completion of this rally. This move from last Tuesday, from March the 15th till the 25th. So we've got, basically 10 days, of which in all essence, it's been pretty powerful. So tomorrow, we're looking for continued upside, even though we are pushing towards a overbought condition. But what I want to add, we're going to take a look at our daily chart to see which moving averages we came up to and kissed today, and continue to kiss the 200, the daily 200. We're sitting just above it, and the market did close just above it. Now that leaves this as a very positive market indicator. Now, what the market absolutely needs to do is to continue higher. A break back below and a close back below will negate the bar as positive. And so I don't expect a lot of more above it, but the fact that we held the 50 pulled in additional buyers. The fact that we started to accelerate it pulled in additional buyers. The fact that we got up and we started making new highs or headed towards that 200 pulled in. Once we broke above 14,700, we got additional strength from buyers putting their money back into the market or just moving into the market. Now, whether that is just a lot of option traders, et cetera, makes no difference. Technically, that's what happened when we started to break above, hold the 50 and then break above. And now if we can hold this and they come in Asian markets and the European markets and start to push us again, well, I think 14,845 is definitely within the realm of reality, if not even higher. Because if we clear that, what do we have? We're right at this price resistance. Then we have additional price resistance, but not until we're at above 15,000. So again, round number, yeah, 14,900 should provide some resistance. 14,850, 875, these all should provide some resistance. But thus far, they're not. They're providing a pause. And we just gather up the steam and we continue to push. So once again, don't fight it. It is extremely profitable just to trade with them and not against them. Trading against them, you're going to have to wait a long time to collect your money if you get the opportunity. So for tomorrow, same story. Upside follow through, resistance 14,845. So it's not actually all that far away. We're now moving up and we're touching and we're going above. We're now making new highs again. So we're 70 points away, 75 points away from that 14,845. Now, whether they want to do that right now, I don't know, but they're continuing to come in and they're pushing. Again, daily, we're overbought. This is the surprise. Check it out. Money coming out. The money flow indicator, it peaked and then they were selling. They were moving the money out. That I find to be very interesting in this type of a move. And how much do we want to continue when money is going in the other direction? So again, volume wise, that kind of fit. Volumes were not that great today for the size of the move and the distance that it covered. So tomorrow, look for additional upside. There's our resistance. A break there pushes resistance pretty quickly to 14,900 and then above. Now, could it be a blow off? It absolutely 100% could happen. Tomorrow's an expiration, and we've got these stocks that they might just decide to blow through some strike prices and keep on going. And they'll push, and they will do exactly that. And again, the ones that are expiring tomorrow, if you're an option trader, you understand a gamma explosion, and that could happen. And then that forces a lot of deltas to be covered, a lot of deltas to kind of come into the market. And that is usually covered either by doing another option or going to the underlying and covering it. And if you end up short delta, you're going to have to buy the underlying, and that just adds more pressure to the upside. So that's what I'm going to be looking for. Now, if this turns, it still remains the same as I've been talking about. If we get a turn, I definitely am looking for something that's going to be like the right hook to the jaw of the market. It's going to knock it down onto the mats, and it's not going to be able to get back up. The buyers are going to be knocked out, and the sellers will just absolutely plow through all of these levels. And that's what I need to see to confirm the top. But I'm still on the hourly, I'm going to be looking for a 5 waves down. And right now, not. I mean, this, but you can see they held that. Remember, I talked about it. That line in the sand, that the battle line was drawn, and it was called the hourly 50 moving average. And it held, and it held, and it held. And that gave the green light for the buyers to come back in. So that It needs to break that 20, it needs to break that 50, it needs to break below the low at 14,433, needs to start heading to 320, needs to start heading towards the 200, which now is at 14,203. So there's a lot of ground to cover on the downside, but I would suspect whatever is going to turn this market and shock it is going to be severe enough that it could lead to what will appear like a crash. Now, do we have enough out there that could do that? We sure do. So be aware and trade smart, trade with the moving averages. Don't get married to any position, not at this stage, folks. In fact, you may start to be preparing for what the inevitable may happen, and people can use options to do that. And again, you might be early, but in any case, trade smart, trade using moving averages, trade using the Fibonacci, trade using the price action to continue to give you the clues that as we start to break resistance, we start to keep above these moving averages, particularly on the daily level. Then we're going to have to be going out to the weekly to try to find where our next signal of strength or weakness could come in. Okay, so I'm going to leave it right there. And the next update will be on Sunday, the 27th.